Western Illinois head coach Joe Davis. The team 17-16 winners at TSU this past weekend. This is their open date. They'll be back in action on November 8th when the first of two straight home games. That'll be Lindenwood on that date. But coach, just some thoughts about the win, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, certainly a much needed victory, well earned by our players. Went into this football game knowing that it was going to take a complete team effort, as it usually does, to get a victory on the road in conference. Certainly very difficult to do. So proud of our players. I told the team in the locker room right after the game it was most definitely the best defensive performance that we've had in my 2 seasons here, complemented by really excellent special teams play. And offensively certainly wasn't our day, but protected the football. And, as we say as a team, when you don't turn it over, you're never out of it. So really all 3 phases contributed significantly to that win. And again, proud of our players and happy for them. Excited to continue to work here into our bye week to improve our football program.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to some questions. I know Barry was up first, and then we'll go to BJ after that. Go ahead, Barry.
Good morning, Coach. Coach Fox mentioned a couple weeks ago that there is marked improvement on the defense, and I wanted to ask you, where have you seen the most gains and the most growth from this defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think this just Saturday you saw, the ability to get a couple turnovers, I think was massive. We've been, working on that quite a bit in practice and talking about it a lot, have not caused the disruption with the football nearly enough in conference play. And to get that early interception for a touchdown, obviously was monumental in the outcome of that football game. But typically as a defensive unit, when you run to the ball, when you play very, very hard, when you play confident, balls tend to find you. The ball finds energy, and I think that's probably been one of the more marked improvements, is just the overall effort and speed and physicality that we've played with on defense here over the past few weeks, and certainly hope we can keep that going.
What's your focus this week as you guys go into your bye week and look ahead to the last month of the season?
Yeah, I mean, having a bye week so late in the season, we are going to give the players and the staff, a little bit of chunk of time off this week. We've all been around each other for the better part here of 3 or 4 months. So we went out and had a full padded, very spirited practice, had a live period yesterday in practice with some guys that maybe have not gotten as many snaps as they've wanted to this season, and really had 3 live drives yesterday, full tackling, quarterbacks were live on a Monday, just to see if we could get some guys to step up and see some guys that might be able to help us here over the last 3 weeks of the season. So that was really, really productive for us. We'll go out today. We'll go into shells and focus a little bit more on situational football as we start to introduce Lindenwood. Tomorrow we'll go out for a pretty light practice and a little bit more of a walk through tempo and kind of clean some things up. And we'll lift Thursday morning, and then everybody will be out of here for Friday, Saturday, and then back on Sunday. So be a good week of preparation and also a good week of rest here for our football team.
In general, Coach, what does a win just mean for this group as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, every single Saturday is to focus on the process of winning football. And Saturday, the players have to play, the coaches have to play, coaches have to coach and do everything we can to execute the game plan that we put together based on the opponent. We've been close. We've I think the last 3 weeks had some shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and a play here, a play there, and we come out, on the positive side of those games, whether it be UT Martin or Charleston Southern, but we did. And so Saturday was really, really pleased to see our team find a way to close that game out and to do it with the physicality that we did on defense was a big positive for us and something that we got to build on here moving into the end of the season.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
BJ, you're up.
Thank you, Kyle. Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, good morning, BJ.
Hey, you mentioned to Barry that the defense played probably the best game in your year and a half at the helm at Western. Can you talk more specifically about a couple of guys that I think combined for 7 TFLs, a couple of sacks, your inside linebackers, Christian Pierce and Kevin Washington, and along with that, how much the three-man front helped them by occupying space and giving them room to roam.
Yeah, well, specifically the inside linebackers, we've thought all season, BJ, those are two of our better players on our football team. I think Kevin Washington has very quietly had one of the better seasons by any linebacker in the conference all year. I mean, he's got an excellent PFF score. He's very productive every single week. Probably hasn't made maybe the splash plays from week to week when it came to TFLs and sacks and turnovers. And so for Kevin to get in there and get a sack and disrupt a couple footballs, certainly not surprising to us, but something that we really, really needed. The interception on defense by Bellini Tia was really a product of Christian Pierce. He was mugged up on the inside of the offensive line and was able to create some penetration in the backfield and actually got a hand on that football, and caused that ball to pop up in the air. And Christian has done that, numerous times this season. We just haven't been able to come up with the football. So those two guys have really provided some stability at that inside linebacker position, whereas maybe a year ago it was a little bit of a by committee in there. We had a lot of different guys rotating through. So those two guys have been big standouts. I go back to the freshmen. I always am very interested in the TV timeouts to look in the eyes of the players and to feel the demeanor of the players as they anticipate that next snap. You've always got 2 or 3 minutes. You're kind of waiting there for the refs to call us out. And there's just a little bit of a different look, in Zorian Bonner's eyes. There's a little bit of excitement in Don Paul Keith's eyes. Justin Buckner by far leads our team in knockdowns. I mean, on special teams and defense, I mean, he is a bull in a china shop, just a missile out there on the field. And so just that youth and athleticism by the young players is, I think, really provided a spark, not only to our defense, but to our team as a whole.
And then another young player gets in for a total of 3 plays. Usually you don't get a player of the week unless it's special teams that only plays 3 plays. But this young freshman linebacker, Joe Edwards, comes in and seals the deal. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, Joe is part of a pass rush special package there that we use, and for a variety of reasons hadn't gotten to that point in the game yet. It was certainly our plan to play him more than he did play, but Joe was a kid that we took out of Downers Grove because of his pass rush ability. I mean, he was an all-state high school, basically stand-up defensive end in high school. And we projected him more as a linebacker, but he's got very natural pass rush skills. He's a very twitchy athlete, certainly comes from a great lineage. His dad was played in the Big Ten at Indiana. His brother is a starting offensive lineman for the Buffalo Bills. So Joe's got all kind of upside and talent, and is another, one of the players that we signed in this very, very highly decorated recruiting class here in the high school class of 25 that we're excited about, and these guys are, certainly forming a bond and a core here that I think could set us up for a lot of success in the future. And so just excited for Joe. He's done that to us in practice. I'm sure the quarterbacks, there have been a few practices, BJ, that they were happy they had red jerseys on because Joe was, was thundering down on them, man. So excited for him and excited to see him really finish this season with a bang.
And then my last question, the offense didn't have their usual output yardage, but and it's almost like comparing it to a baseball starting pitcher. It's like they didn't have their best stuff, but they fought through it. And talk a little bit about, if you can, the key fourth quarter, trying to use some clock so that TSU didn't have time to get the ball back.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pretty disappointed, I think, offensively, just Saturday. Certainly probably our worst offensive game in conference in my time here. And we knew points were going to be hard to come by. It's a big credit to Tennessee State and their defense. They played a very, very aggressive style of defense, challenged us. We've lost Christian Anaya for the season. Damari tries to come back, is in and out of the lineup. We've got several wide receivers that are down. Really, we're only able to get Markel in the backfield. So we sort of knew as an offensive staff that points were going to be hard to come by. We were just thin, and guys kind of getting their first snaps, significant snaps, and it showed, and I think took Kaysen out of rhythm a little bit. Put some balls on the ground, whether it be drop passes. We had some receivers that were open. He made a good decision. Tennessee State did a heck of a job getting hands on the football. Balls, tipped away. for incompletions. You know, so the expectations obviously are much higher on the offensive side of the ball. But again, you know, to be able to protect the football, Markel does not put the football on the ground. Kaysen is not, he does not make ill-advised decisions with the football. And, you know, we knew that it was probably going to come down to maybe grinding out a score or two in the second half. We were able to, you know, get that drive in the third quarter and get the field goal. You know, and then to be able to get a few first downs there in the fourth quarter was obviously big, man, just to keep that clock rolling. So yeah, certainly not the production or output that we're used to and that we expect. But you know, as a team and as an offense, did what we had to do there to get that win.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Kyle. Congratulations, Coach.
Hey, thanks, BJ.
I got one for you, Coach, and we'll let you go. I think it was last week, and you talked about your confidence, Antonio Chada, and then he made a 51-yard field goal that ended up being the difference. Just talk about him making that field goal.
Yeah, I've said it all along. I mean, I have all the confidence in the world in Antonio. I mean, he's proven to make big kicks in big situations. It's just sort of been one of those years. You know, 2 weeks ago, he's got a shot for the game winner at UT Martin. You know, 48-yarder. I'd take him every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And that opportunity, we get the kick blocked. You know, 2 weeks ago, Charleston Southern, you know, we have a chance at, I think it was 42-yarder. He pushed it right. Very uncharacteristic of him. Ultimately may have been a difference in that game, you know, as we got in the field position or field goal position on the last drive. So to have him kick that field goal was big. You know, I think it was big for his confidence, big for our team. And like I said, as the head coach, I mean, my opinion of Antonio never wavers. When the game's on the line and we need a big kick, you're certainly glad that you have him.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time. Best luck in all of the open date, and then we'll talk to you again this time next week.
All right, Kyle. Thanks so much.